Two nod and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice, and as I do so, I find myself wandering back to what I've been thinking before the two interrupted my train of thought. It feels like I'm the only one in the class that so much acknowledges Hanako not being there. It feels like this the other time she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility to make her feel better? Even Muto doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Hey, He-chan, is your juice past its expiry date? What? You were pulling a weird face, like this. As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though she's innate, takes at least some amusement from it. And I was just thinking about Hanako. Oh? Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Suzune's once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being so absent so often. Especially now, though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that instant in the class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling me that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while. The only people she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily. Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but it feels as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation. There are a couple things we know about Hanako's student council members, thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them. Understandable. Sounds like a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it ends up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try. Don't be nosy. Don't be nosy, Hisao. Don't be nosy. Don't worry about it, He-chan. It happens every year after all. That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all, and I start to feel a little fault for what happened in class. But this feels like it goes further, even without the confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, and her usually happy and reassuring face drops. Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, He-chan? Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick up the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. And make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. Tomes are quiet. Muto kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after classes ended, and pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako, almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. No, hi. What's with that response? My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff. Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be aiding the war effort. And how goes the war? I'm preparing. Right now I need money to help with those preparations. If you want me to loan you money, just say it. Nah man, I'm good. You're good? You don't want my money? Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday, I found some guys who didn't know that. I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules. School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means. So, what do you need this money for, dare I ask? Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock. At first it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds, it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter? Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survivor booklet. It's good to see someone who's so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves. You don't seriously think. It's a non-zero possibility. No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place. It's infinitesimal. Besides, where would you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it. Really? Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity or something. Knowing Genji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal and Genji's just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family. Hey, might help me build it? You look like the type who could be handed with schools. If I need your help, we could really make a badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter. I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not, really. I'm busy over the holidays anyways, I'm afraid. That's the same. If the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared. And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion in the case that happens? A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against a blast. That's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better. My mistake. Mine's pretty far away from any major military sites, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What this will do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though. 14 days is a pretty long time. It is. I need 1 liter of water a day for drinking, 2 optimally so I can wash myself as well. Toiletry is easy enough. Just garbage bags for and being placed outside the shelter area. Food means I can supplies, of course. And the radios for outside communication? Right, so I can pick up on government's alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electric one because the electromagnetic pulse from the nuclear airburst fries it too. There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather all though, maybe. As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. Then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. Sounds like you really know what you're doing. Damn right I do. Must be hard, living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes either, so the fact that he went bowling with others in itself is something of a surprise. This mentally reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest it in such a distinctly eccentric way. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him so much recently. It's late, I have stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something though. Yeah, right, that's cool. A man has to do what he's gotta do after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool team should hang out together, right? For some reason, that compliment actually makes me feel nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means I probably won't be able to fulfill his request, for now at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you later about when I can. Cool. Later, dude. Kenji's a bro. He retreats to a dormitory room. I better go see Hanako. I stand outside the door of Hanako's room, hoping that she isn't in too much of a state as I nervously clutch the worksheets Muto asked me to pass on to her. It's one more reason to visit her, and it gives me something to talk about, so I suppose I should be thankful to him for giving me the task. With a long breath to steady myself, I wrap my knuckles on the door in front of me. Oh boy. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer, how strange. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt at getting her to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's just me. Muto said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seems to be just as unsuccessful as the last. Just before I slid the sheets on her door, though, I hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I quickly try to see how Hanako's faring. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown hiding so much of her body. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd prefer that to her expression right now. She looks terribly tired, and appears to be barely acknowledging my presence. Hi, Hanako. Muto wanted me to give you these since you went in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is devoid of thought. Her posture is slumped, in an unusual manner for someone that's so often tense and wound up. Even her eyes keep looking away from mine, doing the best to avoid eye contact. I move my head a little to try to get a better look, but she just ends up turning away. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I could go get a nurse. It feels almost pitiful to put on such a routine get-well-soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her, though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. Her head remains turned away, but her eyes move towards me. I'm fine. An awkward silence follows. As it lingers, I notice that the sleeves and the cuffs of her gown bear slightly damp stains. Her cheeks are a bit red, too. Has she been crying? I see. I hesitated a little before coming out with the words I really came here to say. Would you like me to stay? I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, so it wouldn't be any trouble. Her eyes slide away from me, and I lose any hope for an improvement of her mood. I wait for a response, but she doesn't say anything, nor give any kind of gesture. She just stands there looking away from me. Hanako? She slowly shakes her head. Okay. Good night, then. With that, Hanako steps back and closes the door without a second word. More than a little worried, I retreat back to my room. Wandering up the hallway, I keep mulling over what happened. It felt like Hanako was only half there, as if I was interacting with a robot that was doing just what it was programmed to do without any real thought. She was a husk of a person. This is frustrating. I'd hoped that meeting Hanako would help the situation, but I feel like it's only made it harder to understand her. How am I supposed to try and help her when she quite literally shuts me out like that? I don't even bother to turn on the light, opting instead to simply change in my pajamas, quickly choke down my evening pills, and collapse onto my bed. Well, that ended well. Could have gone worse. Could have gone way worse. She could have told us to, like, fuck off or something, you know. But she didn't, so... And she mulled over our decision, but whatever. Once again, Hanako doesn't turn up for class. Well, it is her birthday. Try as I might to concentrate on other matters, this fact continues to distract me throughout the entire school day, and even as I walk through the school gardens or to the dormitories. I don't think today being her birthday is a coincidence either. I don't know the link between the two events, though, nor do I have any idea what she's feeling. Didn't Lily already say that she kind of hates her existence, because she blames herself for the death of her family, assuming they are dead? I mean, she was in an orphanage, so... With physical pain, I could at least provide some limited comfort. With something like this, though, I have no idea where to start. I run the people I know through my head, thinking about whether they could help. Shizune and Misha don't know that much about Hanako, and with little they do know, they can't help me. Same for the nurse. In the end, there's only one person that knows Hanako well, and would be willing to tell me anything. We're gonna call up Lily? Enter my dormitory room, I notice something that takes me off guard. It's starting to feel familiar. With everything that's going on around me, I'm thankful that this room started to finally feel somewhere I can relax a little. When I first entered Yamaku, it felt immediately foreign in every way, from the untouched neatness to the way it smelled. Focusing back on the task at hand, I throw my bag onto the bed as I open the top drawer of my desk. Before she left, Lily told me the number to call on her while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. In hindsight, I wonder if she knew something like this could happen. Now that she's out of reach, I realize just how much both Hanako and I have relied on her for guidance. I dig around the drawer after drawer, looking for the damn piece of paper. Eventually, thankfully, I find it nestled under a borrowed library book. Probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone, come to think of it. Without further ado, I enter the numbers and anxiously press the call button. Eventually, the phone picks up. A feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother. Well, you know, this would be way more fitting if I was playing the Japanese version, then I could just say this in English. Whatever this is, because clearly we can't see it either way. Something, Satao. Probably hello. This is, someone Satao speaking. Well, the Satao residence. But there's a question mark. I don't know. English? Suddenly finding myself unprepared. I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since according to Lily, her mother is a native Scot. I soldier on in the hope that she must know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. It's Hisao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization could be heard as she recognized the language. My feeling of relief is immense.
Ah, so you must be Lily's friend, one of Lily's friends from school, correct?
Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak to you, Mrs. Satao.
It's so nice of her to find someone so polite. Lily, dear, it's for you.
Her mother seems nice, if a little over-enthusiastic given the mundane situation. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up.
Hello, Lily speaking.
You sound awful. She makes a sound between a dying animal and a yawn. One thing I did remember to check before calling was the time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there, so she realized no excuse. Not feeling well?
I'm just tired. What time is it there?
Late afternoon. School finished for the day not too long ago.
Hanako's not well, is she?
That was quick. My assumption that she must have known something like this could have happened seems to be on the mark. How'd you know?
Because today is her birthday. I had hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to know you, but... How is she right now?
She missed school today and yesterday. I still have to check up on her today, to be honest. After seeing how she was when I talked to her yesterday, I'm pretty anxious. I really have no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Yes, she already said it. Is it related to her scarring in some way? She already said yes before, Hisao. Please remember things.
Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. Stop pressing right-click, please. It's kind of annoying. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring. And Hanako blames herself for their deaths. We already went over this, though. Don't you remember, Hisao?
What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may well be ruining the day she was ever born. Hanako mentioned her staying in the orphanage to me. Maybe I should take some heart that she trusts me and don't tell me such a thing. Lily seeming so in the dark about it, though. Almost to the extent that I am is a surprise. So, that's why she lives in the school dormitories as well? Has she told you any more about the accident?
As close as we've come, she's barely told me anything about what happened. What I know about it is largely conjecture.
She sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I can't really fault Lily for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lily, with everything she's gone through. There's a long silence from the other end of the line. I'm going to wonder if the call cut out before the voice at the end speaks up once again.
There is another person, though, that has been a subject of worry for me as of late.
Oh? I run through the people she could be talking about in my head. The only friends she seems to be very close are me and Hanako, though there's Akira as well.
That person is you, Hisao.
There's another silence on the line. This time it's caused by me. Making others worry about me is something I've very actively tried to avoid since coming to Yamaku. Indeed, even my interaction with Hanako has helped stave off any major health problems thanks to our relaxed and slow-paced lives. What is there to worry about over me?
I apologize. I didn't mean any offense.
Sorry, I was just taken a bit off guard. Still, isn't Hanako a bigger problem at the moment?
For some time now, I've thought that both of you may be feeding into each other's worrying habits. I tried to amend this before leaving, but it seems to have done little.
Worrying habits?
When I asked you what you had in mind for the future, your answer was very similar to what Hanako said in the past when that question was posed to her. It is well and good that you want to protect her, but I fear that treating Hanako like this, as if she were a daughter or someone in your special care, is only going to achieve the opposite.
Situation got effectively turned on its head. After everything that's happened, this is the first time I find myself doubting Lily's judgment. Are you fucking kidding me? Look, Hisao. Hisao, buddy. We literally called her up for her advice on this shit, alright? And now you're gonna suddenly not agree with her and say that we need to treat her like she needs special care. Muto, Yuko, everyone has said, just treat her like she's a normal person. That's why she's friends with us in the first place, because we were ignoring her scars. So we don't acknowledge the fact that she needs help, because she doesn't. She can handle it herself. And we just... let's just agree with Lily, yeah. I don't want to admit it, but she may have a point. Something else bugs me, though. And you tried to amend this. Wait. Our outing into the city.
Quite astute. I thought that it might help if I dragged both of you out of Yamaku and into the wider world. I'm thankful you became closer for it, though.
So she noticed that. I suppose she may well have been paying attention to us, and her hearing's incredibly good. Quite likely good enough to have picked up on what we were talking about if she tried. This sounds more and more like you were manipulating us. Silence. It's a harsh way of putting it, but I have no intention of stepping back from those words.
I'm sorry, I was just worried about you.
It's fine. I guess there are more important things anyway. It's not a total surprise that she'd do such a thing. Her motherly nature can be slightly overbearing at times, but she does have the best of intentions. So, you think I should think about myself more instead of trying to cater to Hanako?
That largely sums it up. Again, I'm sorry for not telling you this in a clearer way before going behind your back. I know that I am at least as guilty of being overprotective of Hanako as you, but I fear that you are neglecting yourself in your efforts to give Hanako happiness.
Do you really think Hanako will be okay?
She isn't as fragile as you think. I don't know exactly what experiences she's lived through, or what feelings she has in her mind, but she's managed to work her way through them until now. It's also my hope that giving her a little space will allow her to decide what she truly wants for herself, and give her the initiative to reach out for it. Please, have faith in Hanako, that's all I ask.
I guess I'll think about it for a while.
That's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. I know that at times you may doubt your relationship to Hanako, but she does...
Lily cuts herself off and takes a moment to reconsider her words.
Please keep in mind that I wouldn't have befriended you if I hadn't thought you a fundamentally good person. You are a good friend, both to myself and Hanako.
Thank you, that helps. We share some small talk to try and lighten the atmosphere, but it feels very stilted. There's a lot I don't know about Lily's stay in Scotland, but after such a heavy subject, I don't want to be alone for a bit to think. Or I want to be alone for a bit to think. After a few minutes, we end up saying our goodbyes, and I set my phone on my desk. Compared to Hanako's situation, mine feels utterly mundane. I still have both my parents, I had a reasonably normal childhood, and unlike many in Yamaku, my condition isn't immediately visible to the public. But then again, isn't this just an attempt to justify the way I've been acting towards her? That may well be what our pasts were like, but when it comes down to the future, I still have no idea what I want to do. In school, I've just concentrated on each day's work, and I've put off more and more things to cater to Hanako. I recall the words Muto told me after Hanako's breakdown about the purpose of Yamaku and my education. In hindsight, he was probably trying to push exactly the same thing. Just what have I been doing in the time since my heart attack? If I ever did manage to get Hanako out of the room to open up, what then? I look out of my dormitory window as the sun slowly sets. It's a nice sight. But what I really save here is the quiet as the students return to their dormitory rooms. All I want to do now is think. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I want to work out where I'll go from here. Well, I think it's time that, things happen. Very strange things. Since talking to Lily yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I felt ever since coming to Yamaku. But even if I try to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to her desk again and my mind starts spinning. Once more, my eyes drift over to it, but this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. No, hey Miki. Maybe you should have lunch. I can hear your stomach growling from my desk. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction, and hops onto my desk. Her grin as she sits on it reminds me of the Cheshire Cat. So, what you working on? Some math. I have a decent handle on it, but I just want to revise. Oh, really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs my mathematics book with her hand. She scans the page I was on, holding it open with one hand as she has her left arm sitting uselessly on her lap. In my time here at Yamaku, I've noticed that other students have a wide range of adjustment to their disabilities, on a purely practical level. Miki is one of those who seem to have some trouble. The stump of her left arm tends to either be hanging by her side, or slipped into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm also thankful that Hanako and I don't have disabilities affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Then again, if Miki's problems worsened, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. My attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents with such casual interest in the subject matter. It's clear by now she won't be of any help. I'm guessing you're not too interested in this stuff? Screw math, it's boring as hell. She puts the book back in front of me with indifference. Her eyes move to the notebook beside it that I've been working out the practice equations on. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Yeah. Wow, never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better than this in history. I think it's worth asking the library for help. I heard she's shooting for uni. Nah, Yuko? Maybe. I don't know what she wants to study, though. Do we? I'm confused. Because clearly there's other teachers in this school. Do we only have Muto as a teacher? Or, like, does Muto teach everything to us? Or, I don't know. I'm really confused. So, what about you? Got anything you're thinking of doing after you graduate? Me? Nah, not really. I just like enjoying it while it lasts. She looks a little awkward when asked about her future, and absentmindedly rubs her left forearm. I kinda want to ask her about it, but I don't think I know her well enough to do so. Conversation peters out, and I lean back in my chair, giving up on the prospect of studying. Miki notices my tired expression, looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako? Is that obvious? You've been glancing at her seat, and you've been pretty quiet. Not too hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get, weird sometimes. She sounds put off, but I can't really blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me, even with Lily around to help. I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I had developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. Nah, I mean, no offense. She isn't a bad person, I know that much. I know, I didn't take it that way. It's just hard to deal with when, well, you know, you have feelings for someone. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like what happened to her during class, too. Well, she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticed by others in the room as well. And come on, don't get that down. She's done this before. You just gotta wait it out. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time, ever since she's entered Yamaku, if not before then as well. And I'm not supposed to be concerned about that. Well, I might think that, but there's nothing that I can do. I can't force her to come out, and she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting help for any of her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that when you're so powerless to help someone, that's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. As I mull things over, I notice a movement on the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is, and ended up doing a double take. Sure enough, it's Hanako. She walks through the door as she would any normal school day, and begins to move towards her seat in her usual silent and humble manner. She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing so is hard after all that's happened. Girl sitting on my desk looks to me, grinning. See? Sweetheart's back already. What'd I tell ya? You be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hits close enough to make me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls Miki's name from the door. She jumps down from her vantage point on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hisao. Remember to eat sometime, will ya? Fine, I will. See ya. She gives her casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in gym uniform is waiting for her, probably someone from the track and field club. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk.
Hello.
Hi, Hanako. What's up?
Nothing.
Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class was a bad move. Wanna come with me and grab something from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry.
But I thought you were studying.
Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time must have taken some courage for Hanako, so the least I can do is stay with her. That's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. This is the way Miki, and probably the class as a whole, views Hanako. I could do more for her, though. I want to do more for her. After being distracted by Miki, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking. These may be small steps for her, but the fact that she's finally out of her room, out of her own volition, lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Okay, maybe this is the scene. I don't know. There's a scene that's going to happen at some point, and it's soon. And I know it.